Alrighty, so this is a video for section 10.1. We will be simplifying square roots. So just a quick reminder, the square root symbol looks like this. And if you look to the right, we've given you a list of some of the perfect squares to know. So 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, etc. These will be a helpful resource for you if you can have these offhand. But what the square root symbol means is that if 4 squared equals 16, then the square root of 16 equals 4. So a square root symbol, again, undoes a square. Alright, so let's look at example 1. It says, use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse, round to the nearest tenth. So we're given a right triangle here. The Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always our longest side, our hypotenuse, opposite from the right angle. So, whenever we go to plug in for A and B, A, we're going to plug in the square root of 2. For B, we're going to plug in the square root of 3. And then we're solving for C. If you have a square root squared, it just gives you the number inside the root. So the square root of 2 squared will just give us 2, because the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2, plus the square root of 3 squared just gives us 3. So 2 plus 3 equals c squared. So c squared equals 5. Now to solve for c, remember to undo a square, we use a square root. So we square root both sides, and we get that c is equal to the square root of 5. Now go ahead and plug this into your calculator now. It asks us to round to the nearest tenth. You should get, when you plug in the square root of 5, 2.2 when you round to the nearest tenth. If you did not get that when you plugged it into your calculator, pause the video and plug it in again and see if you can get 2.2 as your answer. Alright, let's continue on down. The product property of radicals, radical is a word that just means square roots, tells us that if we have two square roots multiplied together, we can just combine the numbers inside the square root. So for example, if we have the square root of 2 times the square root of 5, we can just write one big square root and multiply the two numbers on the inside. So we'll have the square root of 2 times 5, which equals the square root of 10. Again, you can work the opposite way. If you have the square root of 10, you can rewrite that as the square root of 2 times the square root of 5. Alright, but whenever we are given multiple square roots, it's always most simple to combine them into one. So in example number 2, we're going to simplify the radical expressions. So first we need to multiply the square roots together. So in number 1, we have the square root of 7, or the square root of 3 times the square root of 7. So we can rewrite this as the square root of 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21, so we are going to have the square root of 21. 21 is a prime number, or not a prime number, but 21 we can't pull out any square roots, so our final answer is the square root of 21. Right? In example 2, we only have one square root, and it asks us to simplify. However, in order to fully simplify, if there are any squares that can go into this number inside the square root, we need to pull them out. So if you look at 12, we can factor 12 into 4 times 3. And 4, if you look up at your chart at the top, is one of our perfect squares. 4 is equal to 2 squared. So we can rewrite this as the square root of 2 squared times 3. And since we have a 2 squared inside the square root, we can rewrite this as the square root of 2 squared times the square root of 3. The square root of 2 squared is just 2. So our final answer when we simplify would be 2 square root of 3. We have to pull that square out. Right? In example number 3, we have 32. 32 can be factored into 4 times 8. And 8 can be factored into 2 times 4. And look, now I have 2 4's in here. So I can rewrite this as the square root of 4 squared times 2. I can pull these apart and say the square root of 4 squared times the square root of 2. And the square root of 4 squared is just equal to 4. So this simplifies to 4 square root of 2. In example number 3, we're given 2 radicals, or 2 roots multiplied together. So first we want to multiply them. So the square root of 2 times the square root of 8. We can write this as the square root of 2 times 8, put them both in the inside, which is equal to the square root of 16. And if you look back at the top, or think in your head, 16 is equal to 4 squared. So this is the square root of 4 squared. The square root of something squared is just itself, so this gives us an answer of 4. Alright, so you are responsible for checkpoints number 1 through 6. And number 1 and 2, you will be using your calculator to evaluate. And numbers 3 through 6, you need to put your answer in the simplest form. You do not need to plug it into your calculator.